I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing with this channel. I don't know what I'm doing with this video. I don't know most things that I'm going to say. But it's a weird phase in my life right now. And it's a very small phase. I'm not trying to talk big or something, but for the past week or two, it's almost as if you're learning new information, right? Um, you're starting to understand more things about living than you did before. Some revolutionary, some trivial, and some kind of in the middle. But all this new information, it starts to kind of, it attacks your preconceived notions of life, right? Of the way you live, of everything you think about. Not not always so vigorously or so much that it just breaks it down and you don't know what the hell to do, but enough to kind of annoy you, right? That's what's happening with me right now. I feel like I have so many new ways of looking at the same things that I don't know what to believe in anymore, right? And that's fine. Sometimes it gets so tiring that you want to feel like you don't know anything at all, right? Uh, yeah, it's a weird feeling. Strictly emotionally speaking, it's almost as if, for me, that I get this wave of just shit, right? Wave of life, wave of the way things work, and how there's so many sides to one argument or one person, depending on the perspective you look at it. And it becomes so much, it becomes so overbearing that you don't know what side to pick. You don't know if you're supposed to pick a side, or you don't know what to believe in. And it becomes extremely overwhelming, and you kind of just want to lay down and be nothing. That's what I've been feeling recently, that I want to have no responsibilities whatsoever. Not because my responsibilities are getting overwhelming, but I just want to be this, well, nothing, right? I don't want to die. That would suck. But I want to exist, but just as nothing important at all. Just be nothing for some time, be unperceived, be non almost. Oh yeah, this is a phrase someone said to me a while ago, and they were like, do you ever feel like you don't want to die but you just don't want to exist? I guess that's what it is, but it sounds so depressing. It's not as bad as you think it is. But what happens is that your heart just becomes this huge question mark, right? You are burdened with the information of everything from all of its aspects, right? It's kind of like you're given this person, and you have, there's no time limit, but you're supposed to know this person entirely, every side of them, as fast as you can, because not knowing them is painful. I don't know if that's a good analogy, but there's so many sides to a person, right? There's their emotional side, their logical side, what they do when they're angry, when they're sad, when they're happy, what kind of socks they wear, or what their favorite food is, like all of these nuances. And high above, you see like what their purpose is, what they want to be in life, what they want to do when they get old. Do they want to have kids or not? Like, what ideas do they believe in? All of these things, which is a metaphor for just new things in your life, right? And there's so many sides to that. It's like you want to know it because not knowing it is painful. And so you have to go through the very painful process of trying to understand it. And you get somewhere, but you don't always have the motivation or the willpower to slide through it, right? I don't know what I'm saying, but let me think. Okay, so I guess the feeling of being sad, right? Or feelings in general, right? I guess the metaphor for that person is your feelings. As you grow up, you start to learn more and more about your feelings. And when you're a kid, there's not a lot to learn about. In fact, I mean, in some ways, it's the most difficult as a kid because all of these emotions are just kind of thrown onto you and you're supposed to figure them out. But they're still not a huge deal because you don't have a huge responsibility in the world except to just exist and eat and study a little bit and sleep and play, right? But now when you're older, at least a little bit older, now you have these responsibilities that you have to tend to while you're working out your own shit, while you're trying to figure out what the hell is going on with you. And yeah, so you're supposed to try to understand your feelings because when you don't understand them, it's painful, and you have to go through this also painful process of trying to figure them out. So basically what I'm saying is I'm at this kind of stage where understanding these things, not really even my feelings specifically, that's a part of it, but just so many things in general, I can't even name them. I'm at a phase where I'm a little bit too tired to try to process them and try to understand and walk through them. But I'm also, I don't want to stay completely stagnant because I'll tell you what, in some sectors of my life, there are things I'm working on, there are goals I'm pursuing that are working just fine. But not all of them have to do with me personally, right? Maybe I'm a part of them, or maybe it's not as personal to me. But when I zoom in a bit, when I look at my personal goals, me every single day, what time I sleep, what time I wake up, not even those things specifically, but they're a part of the whole picture. The things that I do in a day, how much time I spend doing what, all of these things. If it's so easy to filter them into good and bad, right? And I'm just getting tired of it, honestly. And so the point of this video was to bring across another point which is kind of related, but I'm honestly just saying all of this because I just want to let it out. Not that I haven't already, but so as I said before, your heart just becomes a question mark. You just want to lay down and do nothing at all, and that's okay. Honestly, that's genuinely okay. That's what you need sometimes. You can't stay in that limbo forever because then you're not going to get anything done. But it's kind of stupid to keep telling yourself in that state of limbo that, oh, I have to be productive and I have to be a better person. And okay, that's good shit, but when you're feeling so many emotions, you can't just try to wipe them away by saying that you should be better. First of all, stop saying that you should be anything. You're not supposed to be like anything at all. Actually, only specifically when it comes to your feelings. You're not supposed to feel in any certain way at all. You just feel what you feel. It's a very natural thing. You can't be artificial about it. You can't be performative about it. You just feel what you feel. You're not supposed to feel in any certain way because that's inauthentic. Which is interesting. Why are inauthentic things so looked down upon? Topic for another video. I'm not getting into that right now. But you just feel what you feel and you're supposed to figure it out from there. And sometimes it's okay to just sit with your feelings and feel what you feel. You don't have to have the answers to everything. This is something I also mentioned in my last video about how the fact that you don't know shit and half of the things you know about don't make any sense, that even the fact that you don't understand it is beautiful. Because, well, first of all, you can't understand it without ever not understanding it, right? But this stage where you don't get shit, you don't understand anything, it's painful, right? It hurts. It hurts your ego, it hurts a lot of things, right? It's kind of like you're starting a class and okay, that's a bad example, that's a bad analogy, but let me give my example. So I recently joined a tuition for one of my subjects that I failed in, and I was horrible at it. And the point was to go to the tuition so I could get better at it, right? And I've been going for a while, and for the record, I'm doing great now at the subject, but I was horrible at it. And the humiliation and pain that comes with being there, sitting in that class, with everyone around you knowing how to do this shit, and you don't know shit. You come from a place of lack, I guess, not understanding things, just, you know, naivety, a bit of immaturity. You can't ever be good at that subject without facing that humiliation, and that's what I had to do. I mean, this is, I'm kind of overplaying it. It's not that extreme. It wasn't that horrible for me, but this humiliation exists in so many aspects of life when you don't know shit. When you get into your first relationship and you don't know how to initiate things, um, just in general, right? And you don't know how to work through your emotions. You don't know how to work through an argument. You don't know how to make them happy, or you don't know what you're doing. All of these things, there's humility with it, and that's fine. You're supposed to feel that humility before you can move past it, so you get that shit. And this is like the most basic shit that people tend to forget, because the most obvious things are overlooked. You'll hear so many people saying this, that the greatest were once the worst at their shit, right? But everybody tells you this, but no one really goes deeper into it. And I mean, the truth is that you don't have to go deep into it, because everyone is trying to find a deeper meaning in it, in all these stories that they get told by these famous people. It's not that complicated. It's just that it's so simple that you sometimes you just have to be horrible before you can be good. Not sometimes, every single time you have to be horrible before you can be good. And so I'm learning how to sketch right now, and I suck ass at 2 point perspective. I still haven't gotten it down, and so many of my classmates are doing amazing at it. I mean, they're so much better at sketching, but I've talked to some of them and they feel like horrible about their art. Like, they're like, no, it's not good enough. I'm like, bro, but you're doing better than me. And they're like, yeah, but it's not good enough, because everyone has a certain standard that they've set for themselves. They've already gotten better at the 2 point perspective. Now they're trying to master the 4 point perspective. So for them, the 4 point, even as magnificent it might be to me, is probably horrible to them. And it's reference points. Everyone has a different way of looking at shit. You can't compare it directly. So when you're doing horrible at something, it makes zero sense to compare it to someone who's doing well at it, because they have their own preconceived notions of how good they should be, and how good they are, and where they want to be, and all of that shit, right? So all I'm boiling down to is that it's not that complicated. It's fine to be nothing sometimes. And the craziest part is you can never be nothing. But the thing is that sometimes you have to feel that way. Sometimes you're forced to feel that way, that you're nothing, that you're alone, that that everything that you're suffering through, all the misery that you're trying to lift yourself out of, that you are alone in it. And that's possibly one of the worst feelings you get. That's why everybody just seeks someone to be with, right? Because they don't want to feel like they're alone. But you can't ever you can't grow out of it without accepting it, that you just are alone sometimes, right? And even if you might not be, that you just do feel that way. Like if you're going through something extremely difficult, that's a common problem. It's easy for everyone to say that, bro, you're not alone. Like, so many other people feel this way. Even I felt this way once. But that's not how it is to the person who is feeling it. For them, they have convinced themselves that they're alone, not in the fact that they're the only one feeling this way, or I'm sorry, not in the fact that they're the only one going through this shit, but they've convinced themselves that every single thing they feel is unique to them, which is true. But it's this it's this manipulative process that happens in the mind, that, you know what I'm feeling, it is so unique to me that nobody will ever understand it. And while to some very, very minute degrees that is true, in like it's not so deep that no one is gonna get it. And that's kind of where your ego gets involved, where it's like, well, this is my problem, well, I'm gonna fix it, because I don't think anyone else is capable of even understanding it, let alone fix it. Anyway, I'm going on a lot of tangents here. I haven't even reached the main topic of this video, which let's just stop this segment abruptly, which kind of ties into the next one. But the topic of this video is that you can always change your mind. Humans are so delicately intertwined amongst each other, amongst themselves. Humans are so fickle. Emotions are so fickle. Your feelings are just pretty much scattered, and you spend your whole life trying to pick it up. But what people don't, and not everyone, I guess this video does target a specific group of people, but what people don't seem to realize is that, and this is gonna sound very similar to something I said in my last video, and it's just that things are not set in stone, especially your feelings. People find so much humility in saying that they changed their opinion in something. Most of it has to do with the fact that they've been proven wrong, but in the midst of this whole humility, they even forget that there can be no wrong if it's in the sense of a subjective discussion. People always be talking about, bro, Kendrick is the best rapper, and someone else be like, no, Kanye is the best rapper. Neither of them have any good understanding of either of those rappers. They just want to have an opinion. And the moment one of them listens to the other's opinion, and the Kendrick guy is like, you know what, let me listen to Kanye, and he actually loves that shit, there is so much humility in admitting that. It is not easy. You have to come out and say, you know what, bro, maybe I was wrong. Kanye is pretty good. Maybe he's not the worst, certainly. Maybe he's not the best, but you know what, he's pretty good. And as I said, there's so much humility in expressing that, because it's all about right and wrong. People are so entitled to their opinions that they attach themselves to their opinions so much that, because I think Kendrick is the best, that is the right thing. And this is, if you've ever been in a relationship, or forget about a relationship, just a very emotional argument, you'll notice that both parties think that they're exactly right about the topic at hand, because they're so emotionally attached to it for whatever reason, right? For all valid reasons, they're emotionally attached to their side of the argument. They think that is right, which is why it's so hard to open yourself up to the other person's opinion, which is why it's so hard to come to a middle ground. And not for everyone, obviously, but the people I'm addressing know who I'm talking about, right? Not anyone specific. I don't know who the hell's watching my videos. I got like 100 videos on my last video. That's crazy. But what I'm saying is, you have imagine your clay, right? You have molded your opinion to resemble your identity. And this is something I see so much, and I'm guilty of it. But the fact of the matter is that there shouldn't be any humility in the fact that you can always change your mind. And I'm kind of contradicting myself by saying shouldn't, because you're not supposed to feel it anyway. But what I'm saying is that humility only really mainly exists because of your perception of what is right and what is wrong, what is close to you and what isn't. That you forget to look at it from an objective point of view, which is also emotional. People don't understand, and maybe I don't either, the fact that an objective perspective can be personal in some way. Maybe that doesn't make a lot of sense, but what I'm saying is, the moment you realize that it is absolutely fine to change your mind is when you start to let go of that humility that comes with admitting that you said something that wasn't that was too hurtful, or probably too set in stone for the topic at hand. Now I'm gonna get to a very important point of this topic, that this is extremely conditional. And what I mean by that is that the fact that you can always change your mind doesn't apply socially in all situations. Imagine if someone like Elon Musk came out with a new Tesla model, right? And just 12 hours after releasing it, he's like, oops, sorry, I changed my mind, it's not coming out. No. Right. This is something I'm still figuring out a bit, but the more power you have, influence you have amongst a set of people, okay, the more responsibility you have, that's a better word. The more responsibility you have that is attached to your words, what you say publicly, what you say to other people socially, even personally, the amount of responsibility you have is what dictates how free you are to exercise your change of mind, right? Now, a parent cannot set a rule in a house and immediately change it because they change their mind. Because they're parents, they have responsibility, and in some ways, in a lot of ways, it's actually extremely immature to always keep changing your mind. But the point of it isn't to always change your mind and go with your emotions every single time, because there is such a logical aspect to it that can easily be ignored. It's that there is a time and place for understanding why your mind changed and applying whether or not that change of mind is important, taking into account who is being affected and who isn't. And on the flip side, there is a time and place for all logical matters and all decisions and all opinions and all statements that are set in stone. You can't go in a court of law and the judge be completely immature about it and pass a judgment and then be like, wait, I changed my mind, hold on. My entire point with saying this is to hopefully make people understand that there is so much energy wasted in trying to say the right things, in trying to always be the right guy in the argument, you know. And it's funny, so many celebrities, people who actually have a lot of influence, are very good at being true to themselves and their audience. But the reason they don't fuck up is because they know the time and place for where their priorities, or for where their opinions and feelings are supposed to be set in stone, or at the very least fixated for that occasion, and a time and place where, you know, they can just be free, right? They can just be not tied by the expectations of their audiences, because that is something that always exists. There will always be external expectations of the world upon you. You're just not supposed to internalize them. I've lost my train of thought, but how long have I been recording for? I don't know. I think people shouldn't be criticized for changing their mind. And damn, I'm gonna have to put like a disclaimer in the beginning of this video to watch this video till the end, because if someone watches it halfway through, they're just gonna leave a comment saying, are you stupid? People can't always change their minds. And you know, yeah, because I can't give a half-assed video without explaining the whole thing. Because to be frank, and I'm gonna say this openly, I've said this before, I don't know a lot of what I'm talking about. I just I just feel like I have a good grasp and understanding of it for my age at this point in time. So the influence that I have on the people who are watching this video is something that is a, at this stage at least quite out of my responsibilities, because I'm not trying to say the right things. I'm not trying to say what's always going to be appropriate, what's something always that people are going to love, that something that'll get credit for. I just want to do my what's the word? I kind of just want to get it out, honestly. I genuinely just want to get it out. That brings up a very interesting topic about misusing your influence, something that doesn't apply to me right now. But wow, it reminds me of so when the first half of the song Mortal Man from To Pimp a Butterfly ends, this montage kind of plays where he's reciting, I don't know if it's a poem, he's just reciting, and he's like, I remember you was conflicted, and that whole part. And he mentions something about misusing your influence. That is an extremely valuable topic to talk about at some point in the future, so I should remember that. I'll put it in my list. But yeah, I hope I got my shit across. You know, you can always change your mind. I might not even put this video out. Actually, no, I will. But what I'm just gonna keep repeating myself, because I feel like I am quite underconfident in my articulation, which is not the point of me doing this. The point of me doing this is just so that I do this. I'm gonna repeat once more that you can always change your mind in certain situations, in situations where you don't have a lot of responsibility over the influence that you have over your friends. Yeah, I feel like I've put it pretty well. What am I saying? Yeah, could have been better, but you know, whatever. What's the run time? 28 minutes, not bad. People have fucked up attention spans. Oh, my camera's about to die. But yeah, people just don't watch my videos till the end. What am I doing? Yeah. I saw like the viewer retention rate, and like the 100 views that I did get in my last video, most of them were just the beginning first minute of the video. No one's even like, there's no retention throughout the video. And obviously part of that is my production being shit, but there is so much like, this is the shit that people just have to get used to, right? That people don't have attention spans, very long attention spans, so we have to do these things like an intro, and then you have to say something interesting to hook them, and then you have to say something meaningful, something actually knowledgeable, then you have to put another way to hook them in so they keep watching, then you have to put an advertisement because you have to pay your bills or whatever, and then you have to say another thing so they don't click off of the advertisement and click off the video. You just have to keep their minds stimulated. You have to put on background music, and you have to add all these animations and all of that, just so they can keep watching, just so you can keep their attention rate. You just have to do it. I'm gonna be doing it as well. I do it. I use music in my videos, and while I argue that's a bit of a more artistic thing, it definitely helps in the same intent to keep people watching the video, right? It's an element. Adding an intro and outro and saying, like, putting all these clickbaity titles and saying all these interesting like hook lines that I mean, these lines that'll hook people in, these phrases that'll entice people to watch your video. it is just so unnatural, but you have no choice but to fall to the system in that way, because otherwise no one's really going to watch your videos, right? So it depends on your goals. Are you really trying to chase the what you think is right about how people should just build up their tolerance to attention spans, in which case you don't have to fall to anything at all. But if your goal is to actually grow your channel, you have to kind of fall to the level of these people who are watching your videos. You have to and fall to the level of these people. I'm talking as if I'm not one of them. But when I'm in front of the camera and when I'm editing and when I'm the creator, then it's a different story. But honestly, I'm just one of you guys who don't know, who don't even have the attention span of like a rat. I don't even know what I'm saying. But yeah, that's just how it is. Damn, I've been feeling so damn shitty, and just recording this video made me feel pretty good. Because here's the thing, this video doesn't set my channel in any specific direction. It just adds a number to the video count, and me talking for 30 minutes straight about a bunch of nonsense is practice. If you've noticed me kind of zoning out in the middle of finishing sentences, that's because another thought pops into my mind that has to do with this thought, and it makes me a bit more aware of what I'm going to say to the video. And yeah, like I just had one right now. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, that's just what it is. Okay, that's enough.